Joining us now is former Republican presidential candidate himself and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Governor, good to see you.
Good morning, Maria. How are you today?
Reaction all the way. What's your take on Hillary's speech last night? Did it do enough to make a case that she's the one on issues like the economy and trade?
Look, if you already like Hillary, you probably loved her speech. If you are not a big fan of Hillary, or if somehow you have missed the last 40 years of Clinton mania, I don't know how you listen to that speech and say, boy, that's terrific. But look, I didn't go to medical school, but I can now diagnose Hillary's chronic cough and that clearing throat issue that she's had. Every time she's clearing her throat or coughing, she's coughing up yet another government giveaway. What we've seen with Hillary is we've gone from George Orwell's Big Brother to Hillary being Big Mother. Let's make government as big as we can, as expensive as it can be, and give away a lot of stuff, but somebody's got to pay for that, Maria.
Well, she had to appeal to those Bernie Sanders supporters, I guess, and bring up free college. That was one of the issues. But look, we've got this enormous block of independents. Do you believe that speech made her look like the change maker that her husband talked about? And is it going to lure them in?
I don't think so.
No.
I really don't, because there was nothing fresh there. I mean, it was sort of a whole string of liberal cliches, everything from we're going to make sure that you can get an abortion, we're going to do all these spending programs, we're going to give away a lot of stuff. And I just don't think people buy that, especially from someone who's been in the public eye as much as she has and whose positions have switched more often than the ping pong ball in a Chinese ping pong tournament.
Here's Julie Wiginski.
Hi, Governor. I know that you're very close to Donald Trump, so I have a question maybe you can pass along to him. At some point, are we going to hear exactly how he's going to accomplish the believe me parts that he's talking about? Is he going to ever provide us with any details of how he's going to fight ISIS, or how he's going to turn the economy around, or bring manufacturing back, or trade, or any of this stuff? Or are we just going to take his word for it?
Pretty much like you're going to get from Hillary Clinton.
Well, she has a very detailed, sir, with all due respect, she has a very detailed plans on her website. He does not.
Well, yeah, but Julie, keep in mind that what Hillary does is she's taken the same or the different position on issues all over the board, whether it's the war, whether it's on trade, law enforcement. Look, what I do think Donald Trump has is clarity of his own convictions. He's been very, very consistent about not letting America get sucker punched in trade deals, not letting American workers get trampled all over, not letting foreign governments completely sucker us when it comes to everything from the Iranian deal to the wonderful reset with the Russians that Hillary was so successful at. I do think that what we really look for a president is not some detailed policy speech like it came from Brookings or Heritage. What we look for is the clarity of vision. And then you hire people to carry out the details. And Donald Trump understands that. He's a good executive.
What? Sorry, Jared.
Governor, I wonder if you think she had any effective lines against Mr. Trump last night. She did sort of talk very much about his character and his temperament, and I think that is something that concerns people. The line about, if you're going to get baited on Twitter, you really shouldn't have your access to the nuclear codes. Do you think that is going to be an attack that's going to resonate with people?
No, I don't think somebody who has been exposed as having lied to Congress, having lied about everything from her emails to running past sniper fire in Bosnia, someone whose credibility is totally shot by the many, many things she said, I really don't think she's in a position to give a lecture on what honesty looks like. I mean, I just don't think there's credibility there, except to the people who already love her and still believe everything she says, even though so many things she says have turned out to be outright falsehoods.
Governor, though, I picked up on something, and I don't know if I know some people did in the last couple of days, starting with Tim Kaine's speech and then following with Hillary Clinton's speech last night, that a longtime political strategist said, this is how you win elections. And they've started hitting him on not paying small business owners and contractors. And that is going to be tough for him to fight, because, again, you start running ads about the little guy gets hurt, the little guy gets hurt. How is he going to counter that? Because that's, again, and you know, having run a lot of different campaigns and won a lot of elections, that hurts.
It does, except for the fact that he can put on 10,000 people who say, I got a job. I worked and got a good wage because I built, the Trump Tower. I built one of the golf courses. He treated me with great respect. That's the thing. Out of the hundreds of thousands of people that Donald Trump has hired and worked with, can you find some people that, you know, will be able to come on camera and say something nasty? Heck yeah. But you can also find hundreds of thousands of people who will say, you know, this man came on the job site, and even though he was a billionaire, he treated me with respect. He acted like that I was somebody. And you can bring the people that he has helped. For example, the person he paid off their mortgage because they stopped on the highway to give him a hand when his car broke down. I mean, that's the sort of stuff of which politics is all about, but I don't think it's the ultimate decider.
Governor, I'm sorry. I'm from New Jersey, and I've got to tell you, I've been following Atlantic City. I know many of the people that he stiffed. These people are bankrupt because of him, because of his bankruptcies. He took all the money out of that city that he could. They didn't. You're talking about people that he helped, but I can come up with names of dozens, if not hundreds, whom he has really devastated. And the part that's offensive to me is that he has never once said that he's sorry about that. All he has said is that he made a lot of money off those bankruptcies and everybody else be damned. And I have to say, how do you counter that? You are a former governor. You dealt with people every day. You're a politician. How do you as a politician reconcile that kind of language with appealing to people and to their better angels? You know, President Obama was right. In 70 years, I have never seen an example of him helping or even caring so much about these working class people, and suddenly we're supposed to take his word for it. I find it incredibly offensive when you talk about this, and there are people who are literally living virtually out of a box because of the way he behaved in Atlantic City.
Well, Julie, I was a governor for 10.5 years, and because of that, I understand that a lot of times it's the government policies like they had in New Jersey where they continued to overtax, they overspent, they took a lot of money, they wasted it, they mismanaged it, and as a result, the economy there, combined with the fact that there was an explosive growth of other gambling options all over the East Coast, you can't blame Donald Trump for some of those economic models that were government-driven.
You also have to push back and look